Steel sharpens steel, and with our sponsor notification for the week, here's Joy Stephen.
This week's episode is brought to you by Dark Liquor. When you need that extra bit of courage to cuss out your baby's mama or tell your supervisor what you ain't gonna damn do, try Dark Liquor. Dark Liquor can give you that extra boost of courage that you need to make those tough, bad decisions. Dark Liquor, available in Manny's trunk, any Oldsmobile, or across the street from a Popeyes near you.
You said Oldsmobile? Yes, indeed. Dark Liquor has saved many a life and cost many a life. It's a coverall. Welcome, everyone, to Steel Sharpens Steel. I am Tom Cunningham. With us every week, Sharon Letman-Hicks.
Good evening.
With a beautiful spray of flowers behind her. You look lovely. Joy Stevens.
Hello, everyone.
And, of course, Chuck Hobbs.
Good evening.
And I will note for the record, especially contributing to the DaBaby's new girlfriend drama, I have mixed up the yellow and chocolate in the display today. So right off the track. Just as a side note, this would normally go in a y'all, but this has been on my mind all day because I've heard people talking about it. And first of all, the song is trash. But is yellow bone a thing? It was red bone and high yellow to me. I had never heard yellow bone until this trash woman started saying it. Go ahead, Joy.
Where is she from? Because I heard yellow bone growing up in Houston. Yellow bone and yellow hammer, as a matter of fact.
Yellow hammer?
Yes.
I had never heard that one now.
My dad, who was about Chuck's color, used to call me Yellow Hammer, and I still feel some kind of way about that. But yeah, I grew up hearing that my whole life.
Wow. She is from the Dominican Republic. That's where she's from. And apparently she doesn't actually have any Black heritage that she claims. So if you're not claiming Black heritage, you're not yellow anything. You just white. I don't know why you got mixed up in that foolishness. But nobody likes the song. Whether or not they are caping for her or not, nobody likes the song because it is trash. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We are here to talk about the rest of the foolishness that goes on during the week. We have a whole lot of things to talk about. As we promised, there's a Senate seat that is in play in Ohio. We've got more foolishness with Ted Cruz. We've got more impeachment, backsliding, all sorts of stuff going on this week. And so why don't we jump into it with our segment that we call Headlines. Look at those splashy new graphics we have. We have headline graphics now. Who would like to start off this week with something that they have found to be particularly irksome in the headlines? Yes, Joy, pop that finger.
Yes. So I do not have a graphic for this, but what I found particularly irksome this week in the headlines was, oh my God, I'm blanking on his name, Seattle Seahawks football player, Chad, well, I can't think of his last name, but he beat up his girlfriend to the point that he thought she was dead.
Damn.
Sat on the bed next to what he thought was her dead body, drinking a smoothie. And then when she recovered enough to get up and run to the bathroom, actually yelled out, "Oh, you're alive?" And she called the police, called 911. They came and arrested him and everything. And they're saying that he had a manic episode, whatever. And they charged him with assault, not attempted murder. If you have the wherewithal to say to yourself,
Chad Wheeler,
thank you. Chad Wheeler.
Anthony. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's my headline. And here's everything I'm upset about. First of all, y'all look at me like y'all ain't heard that. But if it had been Michael Vickers and dogs, then it made national news. And I'm not sure, I cannot say for sure that their relationship had anything to do with their races, but his girlfriend is Black and he is white. Apparently, the reason that they got into this squabble fight, whatever, that ended with him thinking he had strangled her to death, was that she would not bow to him. And then the police were called and she was rescued. And they called it an assault and not an attempted murder. And the Seahawks let him go, but it was very much we're certain that this has happened and we let him go. And it was all pushed under the rug. And so I want everybody to know about it. If you find that article, look it up, post it everywhere that you can, because more needs to be done.
What's interesting about it, Tom and Sharon and Joy, is that like Joy was saying, what's really interesting is to see what the fallout will be. Remember a few years ago, Ray Rice punched his wife like, she was like it was the speed bag in a gym, dragged her all out of the elevator. He never lined up and played another down. And the hope is that Chad Wheeler will not play another down also. It's deplorable. I saw the pictures of the young sister. She was in bad shape. And this guy is 6'8", 300 some odd pounds. She is maybe 5'9", 5'10", 145, something to that effect. It is incongruent, and it was evil what he did. And it's my hope that, the NFL will go beyond the lip service that it does, because, Tom and I have talked about this for years. I think what bothered us so much about our frat brother, Colin Kaepernick, is the fact that, the NFL, you can stab somebody, get drunk, run somebody over, beat your wife, beat your girlfriend, beat your boyfriend, beat everybody, and still get yourself a contract. But the minute you kneel to protest police brutality, the next thing you know, you're blackballed and you're not able, or whiteballed, and you're not able to play again. So with that in mind, people ask sometimes, well, why are y'all even worried about that? We worry about it because we need to be worried about it. Like Joy said, we need to speak up. We need to let our displeasure be known, not just with what Chad Wheeler did to that young lady, but also the fact that Eric Bieniemy was passed over again for a head coaching job. Just sticking with the NFL again, I continue to find it interesting that in the NFL, you're good enough to play ball, you're good enough to even be an assistant coach, but you more often than not, are not good enough to head a team, which makes what our other frat brother, Mike Tomlin's longevity, even more amazing in my humble estimation, because he's been able to stay for so long. But the Steelers as an organization is one of those organizations that doesn't like to do the coaching carousel, but he's done a remarkable job. But there are other black men who are capable of doing remarkable jobs, but they just don't get the chance. And the Rooney Rule is a joke. They will interview one or two. Same thing happened on the Power 5 college level. And I'll get off sports after this week. Tennessee hired Josh Heupel, the coach at University of Central Florida. A lot of black University of Tennessee alums and former players are upset because T. Martin, the black quarterback who led them to their only national championship in the last 50 years or whatever, he has been a well-known assistant coach for 2 decades, and yet he didn't get an interview and did not get the job. And again, it's just indicative of they'll play you, but they're not going to let you helm their institutions, and I think that's wrong.
Yeah, it's incredible as we are heading into Super Bowl season now. I have not watched a complete game since Colin Kaepernick was blackballed. But because my son plays football and he watches football, I have occasionally stumbled into some really good games and some incredible games where I've watched like maybe the last 2 quarters or something. But it's not surprising to me that NFL is still trash. I mean, COVID hasn't helped anything, but they're going to be trash. So this is stunning, though, because I hadn't even heard of the Chad Wheeler thing. And somebody in the comments said Ray Rice was on 15 seconds after the damn video was made available. And this is a week and a half old. And when you said Seahawks, I was like, what did Russell do? So,
True about Russell.
That's the only thing I know anything about the Seahawks. I had never heard of this cat. And to see that his black wife was almost murdered and all he got was an assault beef and to be let go.
And he's going to plead diminished capacity because he has a history of mental instability. And I know they're going to put this off on he was having an episode. He didn't know what he was doing. I can already tell you what the defense is going to say.
CTE and all that.
Mm-hmm.
That is...
Yeah, but he should. Yeah, Tom, I'm with you. Do the CTE on your own time away from the league. That's a euphemism for, again, the white privilege that we deride all the time. You need to be consistent, NFL. He beat that woman within an inch of her life. And like Joy said, blithely commented,
You still alive?
You still here? Like, yeah, he
While he
deserve,
was drinking a smoothie.
right. Right. He doesn't deserve to line up ever again. And it will, we have to, when we have platforms, be they big or small, we have to raise our voices because, again, like Tom was saying, the mainstream media, they won't do it. And so it's up to us. That's what I love about social media. You raise enough cane on social media, you get it going, and you can make change happen. And that young man needs to have all the time on earth that he needs to get his head together with the CTE, but away from the NFL and away from a multi-million-dollar contract. He needs to be put out to pasture.
Oh, so apparently it has been upgraded to felony assault domestic violence. Still no attempted murder. But, I mean, and unlawful imprisonment. So that's a kidnapping beef. And resisting arrest. So they're stacking up charges.
Good.
Anything short of attempted murder is unacceptable.
Exactly. The only way that I'm cool with all that is if he gets convicted of all of it with non-parallel sentencing. Like you do the time on top, stack it all up. So he's in there. Yes,
so he's gonna get mental health time.
That's what I'm scared of, Sharon. I'm with you.
That's so freaking unacceptable.
Which is why we have to keep jumping on the NFL because we have you remember Brock Turner a few years ago?
The Stanford rapist.
Stanford guy. He raped a girl, a young lady. And what did he get? Like 6 months?
Yeah, it was attempted rape. He was assaulting her by she was incapacitated. He found her. She passed out like in the back of a bar, and behind the bar, and was getting ready to assault her when two people rolled up and got him off of her. And so they were trying to use that as a defense for him. Like, well, he didn't finish. Yeah. So it shouldn't really be a big deal. What's 20 seconds of fun? I remember his father saying, why should his 15 seconds of fun ruin his life? What about the life of the woman that you assaulted?
Absolutely.
And 15 seconds of fun, just even the language this idiot was using to frame this conversation. Two other men had to get him off of her.
Yeah.
They were just passing by. So this was not, and the kid, the affluenza kid, all this foolishness that happens, whatever that sort of person does, a white man, he's young, his future's ahead of him, we need to take care of him. Anybody else under the jail.
Yeah. James was putting out, he actually got 6 months, commuted to 2 months.
Right.
And 2 months dropped his time served.
Thank you, James. Thank you, James. Yeah, I know brothers and sisters have done 2 and 3 years for felony driving with a suspended license, which is a trap that happens when you can't pay your child support. And, down here in Florida, you don't pay that child support. Eventually it starts off with misdemeanor suspended licenses, and then that bumps up to a felony after that third one. And after a while, they will lock you up and throw away the key for several years over a suspended driver's license. And these guys are trying to rape people and beating people within an inch of their lives and going home on house arrest. It's crazy.
They gave that sister 5 years for enrolling her child in a school from a different address.
Right.
And then Coulter votes from a different address, and Rudy Giuliani votes from a different address, but there's no felony fraud charges on any of that.
All the celebrities with the college tuition, college entrance exams fraud.
Right.
Full House chick. I couldn't remember. I still don't know her name.
Was it Lori Loughlin or something?
Yeah, Lori Loughlin, married to the Massimo dude.
Yeah, she did about two weeks, couple weeks. I've never seen people do 2 weeks in a federal prison or 30 days. It's great. It's mind-boggling. Wow.
I'm gonna call it audible because I know I got this train started. We could talk all night just about injustice in the legal system. So I yield the floor to somebody else.
Right.
Well, one of the things that is always on my mind is the coronavirus. And one of the things that broke through this week that is inspiring to me is that there is a 1-dose virus that Johnson & Johnson has produced, and its efficacy is coming close to the two-dose vaccines. And so it looks like Johnson & Johnson is going to be able to help fill the gap. Hopefully that means more vaccines will be able to get out into the public. My mother was just telling me that she signed up 15 minutes after the appointments were available in Sarasota.
Okay.
And she was, by the time she finished, she was number 21,000 on the list.
Whoa.
And she hopped on right as soon as they opened it. Because, it takes time to get through.
Wow.
And 15 minutes later, she was 21,000 on the list.
It's like Beyonce tickets up in here.
Right. I mean, it's absolutely crazy. And of course, there's Rudy Giuliani news again, because Rudy is playing games about the testimony that would be offered in defense of Trump at the impeachment. And he is saying that he has a super double secret Ovaltine secret decoder ring code of a witness that he went on Steve Bannon. And Steve Bannon was so in the, bruh, you can't just be saying you got a name that you just can't tell us. That's why we keep getting killed out here, because you say foolishness and it turns out to not be true. You either have a guy or you don't have a guy. But what you're not going to do is sit up in here and tell me that you got somebody who's going to blow the roof off everything, but you can't say who he is because he's quote unquote anonymous.
When anarchist Steve Bannon is looking at you like, you're doing something wrong.
Exactly. Steve Bannon, people. And this man has nothing to live for anymore, except the fact that he got pardoned in the final hours of Trump's presidency. I mean, it's crazy town. It is crazy town in here. And, I don't know about you guys in California, the rain, and we had hail this week in Southern California, and the rain, my mother corrected me, 23,016 in line. And her first cousin, who also lives in Sarasota, is 88,213 in line. Whoa. And this is in Sarasota, y'all. This isn't even like in Miami or something where you got millions and millions of people. This is in little old Sarasota, Central Florida. So it's crazy. Mm-hmm. It is absolutely crazy out here. True.
In Florida, period, the coronavirus is out of control. My mother's doctor told her, I don't know when you can get an appointment because we have no idea when our allotments are coming in. And I am literally, and I mean, Florida is a retirement state. So you have seniors all over the place that are going to take a while before they can get to any other class of citizen in our state. So as well as the people who are trying to sneak into our state from other countries to get the vaccine. And Ron DeSantis has not chosen to do the residency requirement the way it should be done. So we're literally like in a lottery, and it's better for senior citizens to go to counties that are not senior populated like Leon County and get on the list. So Babadita's on her way up here.
Amen.
So, it makes it's so, the disparity. I mean, we were fortunate enough. I have to give Detroit a shout out. We were able to get my mother-in-law her vaccine appointment seamlessly. Their hotline was very well organized. They gave out the first appointment and the second dose appointment at the same time.
Oh, that's good.
The disparity in Leon County, I heard, is doing the same thing. But there's also the reality with the coronavirus that there's a disparity in where the resources are being allocated for us and brown folks as usual. And there's no data being collected. So that's the big stir up in the White House now, that where's the data about the distribution and the equity as usual for people of color. So they should be even more crystal clear to say people of color who are elders, because that's how the majority of people are distributing at this time. So the unfortunate reality is, once again, we are at the back of the bus. So I think that the alarm is now being sounded to start collecting that data. I can, I don't know how many of y'all are on the Nextdoor app, but our seniors in the Nextdoor app, at least in our community, Nextdoor app is where neighborhoods kind of keep each other informed of what's going on. I'm in the non-Black side of the app, and they are just in there just lauding their process. There's tons of seniors in our app lauding the process. The VA hasn't gotten their allotment. I know this because I'm reading the app, but the beige people are lined up getting their vaccines, and the South Side is still waiting on more allotment. Now, that the main sign up is at our Department of Health, which happens to be in the Black neighborhood. Mm-hmm. But the white people seem to be ones getting all the appointments. So I don't really get it.
You know, some of the folks in the chat room were talking about an access point being a Publix, or all the Publix in Florida. Exactly, is one of the locations. But that is another example of privilege, because Publix is, generally speaking, not in underserved or Black areas. And so when you have that privilege of not paying attention to food deserts around you, you can say it was totally fair and equal. It was just
Joy.
Now
Joy, it's transparently unfair in Florida. Mm-hmm. It just came out that the 12 counties that voted overwhelmingly for DeSantis
got the vaccine first.
Through Publix, after Publix gave him a $50,000 donation in December and another $50,000 donation in January. They just broke that this week also. So I guess that should be headline. But
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Specifically about Publix. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, but what's interesting about that too, to add to what Sharon is saying, is that not just our people. I mean, clearly we are dealing with the food deserts. Publix is not generally found in the hood. There have been a couple of hoods that I have been to Publix's in, but very rare. There was one in Gainesville when I was at UF Law down Main Street. That's as you head down that way. It's mostly Black folks live around there. There's a couple, but not many. Very rarely do you find a Publix in the hood, right? But get this, it's not a lot of Publixes in rural, predominantly white Republican areas either. Okay, you go west on the Panhandle, you go down towards Perry and other counties heading down what they call the Forgotten Coast and what have you. There are Publixes, but you might have to go 100, 200 some odd miles between them. And a lot of poor whites who are like, yeah, Trump, you know, they are the most MAGA hat wearing folks on earth. They're not going to get the shot either because it's not near them either. So talk about voting against your own self-interest, right?
Well, luckily, coronavirus is a hoax. So if you were a Trump supporter, you can just put your hat and just kind of fold it over your face like this. And then they can see the virus can read "Make America Great." And they go, oh, no, we can't go in there. So they're protected. They're covered.
And you see how slow they are, Tom, just to add to that point, and Joy, and I'll get out the way, is that for all of their, it's a hoax. Look at how quickly all of their hoaxer politicians pulled those sleeves up and got those shots when they came available in early December. That's what lets you know that these ones don't pay a lot of attention to what people do and not what they say.
Maybe they can get a deal from Oklahoma for some of them hydroxychloroquine doses that they were trying to return, you know, with your little Robitussin in you, you know, while you wait for your vaccine.
Mercurochrome.
Right.
That's only for us old folks know about that mercurochrome. You got that little thing, that little glass wand. You dip to turn your skin all orange.
Woo, yeah. Lord,
I don't know what was in that stuff, but
mercury.
I guess so. Mercurochrome. As long as don't you put that in your mouth, baby. That's not a lollipop. That's just for your skin. Next up, we have, if we're closed, are we closed on Corona? I mean, there's plenty. Sharon put a link in the chat, so if you want to check that out, all the Publix appointments were gone in 90 minutes, which is about as long as it takes to get you a fresh batch of chicken from Publix if you were going to get there. So
now that's in our private chat. I need you to transfer it over for me.
Okay. Oh, that's private chat? Okay, hold on. Yes, let me see if I can do this. Copy link address, and I will put that in the public comments so everybody can see.
And people, we are talking about the shit show being a Florida thing. I do see in other states some of the stuff that y'all have commented. My sister is a principal and she's already gotten her first shot.
Good.
Yeah, my dad got his
not
first.
Decided to prioritize educators yet.
Do we want to talk about the orange one, or can we glory in the fact that there are no tweets to raise everybody's pressure these days?
It's so good that we have had so much to talk about and not even call his name.
Even call his name, but
I am enjoying the sound of silence. Just rock with that.
Right? Well,
unfortunately, we should be concerned about what he's doing, but I'm just gonna ride it out this week.
Well, I will say this, because Joy she provided the graphic for our advertisement this week, which is Diana Ross singing "Everybody Rejoice" from The Wiz. And when I was pulling that clip to be the still, I had to watch that sequence a couple of times. That was peak Michael Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Jackson is Scarecrow in The Wiz. Everybody loved Michael Jackson. His hair hadn't caught on fire yet. He was still his birth color, had his regular nose, and he was just this amazing person. And when you watch him in that sequence with Diana Ross, I'm convinced he was trying to kind of morph into light-skinned Diana Ross a little bit. Because even when you listen to their voices in that song in particular, they really sound a lot alike. And she was a dancing thing. She only weighed like 72 pounds, I think, in that sequence. But
I actually appreciate you saying that. I totally forgot how he used to hang out with her.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, totally forgot.
Ever since she had her show and she would feature
as soon as you said it, I was like, oh, I remember those days. But that's just not part of his legacy conversation anymore. But I mean, he was like her shadow.
He was.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's an amazing sequence. And it goes from joyous to Cinemax when they unzip themselves and they all half naked and just wow. And it's just a great sequence. Go watch The Wiz, y'all. It is well worth watching again. And
that's our throwback moment.
That's a throwback moment. Everybody rejoice. It will give you life. Off the wall though, baby. That's right, KJ. That was him. Right before Thriller put him into everybody's consciousness as the super mega biggest star in the history of starness. Off the wall Wiz, he was still ours. That was our Michael.
Right.
He turned into they Michael with Thriller, but he was
no, he
our
did not.
Michael. No, he turned into their Michael, but he flipped into white Michael with Bad. But when people found out who he was with Thriller, they took him. They took him. Billie Jean and knife fights in warehouses and dance battles. Them people took Michael Jackson. Paul McCartney doing duets and whatnot. Go ahead, Joy.
Point of order. Because I will say that I have lost many a Saturday going down YouTube rabbit holes and stuff. And there's a lot of footage that doesn't make the rounds on news and stuff where he's talking about being Black, talking about the disadvantages that face Black communities. His song, They Don't Really Care About Us, was about Black people. And the whole thing about the song Black and White, he was still checking for us, even though he was behind enemy lines, if you will. His issues with his skin and with that morphing and everything is a separate matter. I think he still always understood what all his relatives are going through, even if it wasn't him. So I'm not going to say that he left us. I'm going to say that he got co-opted, but he still was checking for us in the background.
Well, so let me be clear. I'm not saying he left us as much as I'm saying they took him.
I think they kidnapped him.
Because if you look at that footage from that final Jackson 5 tour when he was already Michael Jackson, but the other Jacksons hadn't really done nothing, and Marlon was in his feelings sitting on the stage doing this.
I remember that. Marlon came all across the stage.
And Michael was looking at him like, Shamo! Like, I'm the star, bro. Why you are...
Why are you
like, I'm gonna shoot my shot?
Even Tito was like, bro, what are you like? We don't understand what you're doing.
Look, at least he had a sister in the graveyard coming out of Thriller.
True.
Well, this is
We
true.
don't even think about them things. That was a black girl.
Right. That's true.
Black
That's true.
too.
Yeah,
That's
Ola
true.
Ray is not so black anymore though. Y'all seen what happened to Ola Ray?
Hey man,
No, I haven't seen her. She
Ola Ray went full on. I'm just saying, we don't. This is the beauty of this show. It is not a headline, but it's our headline because that's what we led the show with. Damn it! And so we went from Everybody Rejoice to Michael Jackson Off the Wall to They Kidnapped Him to Thriller, and now to Ola Ray. It's a logical progression. Ola Ray has completely dyed her skin. She herself. And
okay, we're gonna have a tribute to Michael Jackson. Maybe not next week. We'll let you know.
We'll let you know. And don't get me started on Prince. So one of the things that I know we're saving for last, I'm going to skip over that one. We have an issue. People are speaking out about Justice Sonia Sotomayor and how she pronounced the vice president's name.
They just talking about that?
Not that they're just talking about it, but there are articles and think pieces being done now by a variety of different people.
That was her accent.
Okay, can nobody on the screen act like they didn't have to make that mental adjustment to say Kamala and not Kamala, because that secondary syllable being accented is how you say it in a lot of other languages. So I can feel that, and I'm sure that she didn't want to make more of it. And once the slip was out, you either got to roll with it or be like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry," and she's like, "I'm gonna just roll with it." And
no, I don't think she knows she slipped.
Yeah,
but you have to immediately look at Kamala's face. Kamala told you she slipped.
Yeah.
Just nobody made an issue of it. Kamala was like gritting. She was gritting her teeth. She was like this.
Of all times for you to do this, right?
Yeah. And to me, since we talked about it on the show with Tukar Carlson making a big deal about it months ago, to me, I was just waiting. I was so happy. We had already had the Michelle as superhero moment, Barack looking cool, all of that, and she got up there, and when she said Kamala, and I was just like,
say it with the accent, Chica Banana.
What's so hard about Kamala? Like, I like how, a lot of the AKAs have those pink and green shirts with comma, COMMA, and then a comma, and then la. Like,
my cousin made a shirt with just the comma.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the la.
Yeah, that too.
And her brand new baby is rocking one of them. So I'm just saying it's not that tough. And that's what this article was saying, that there's all these people, and it closes, which I thought was really cute. This woman has been calling herself Jane for years just to mix in. And her name is Kamala. No A in the middle. But she says now that Kamala is vice president, she's going to roll back out Kamala and tell them Jane people to kiss her entire ass. So I appreciate it. It's just one of the things that we have always had to deal with. I'm not going to say me because people can pronounce Thomas all day long. But, when you have a name that comes from another culture, all of a sudden people pretend like they've never heard it before. You go to Taco Bell and order a chalupa and an enchilada, and you can't say a Mexican name. What is your problem?
So
it's not that tough.
Jerome in the chat room was asking, like, he wanted to know how she said it. We've already done that. And he said, why does it matter? Because she took the oath. And the thing is, it was something that the Republican Party and a lot of Trump supporters used to disrespect her over and over and over again on the campaign trail by purposely mispronouncing her name, making fun of her name and everything. And then for her to be in the moment where she's being sworn in, and a person who ostensibly is an ally to her mispronouncing, you like, God. So it was a moment.
It was a y'all moment.
It was a y'all moment.
And she is still vice president, and she did accept the oath. But here's the thing.
People, sometimes we have to have petty moments. We're just having a petty moment.
We have to have petty moments because here's the thing. There's so much today, especially in the aftermath of the insurrection and riot that all of those Trump supporters did with the Capitol about PC culture and everybody. There's a difference between not being an asshole and being overly sensitive. The woman said, my name is Kamala. You use the word comma every day. And if you ever watch The Sound of Music, you know how to say la. My name is Kamala. That is you just being a decent human being. If somebody said, so Jerome brought it up, if everybody came up to you and just started saying Jerome or Jeremy, that's not my name. So respect me enough. I am the vice president. 82 million people voted for me. I've been on television every day for the past year. My name is Kamala. You know what my name is. Sonia Sotomayor was not reading that off the damn pamphlet. She knew the woman's name. And her last name is Harris. It's not tough. So be a decent human and say a person's name. And it goes into gender, identity, and everything else. This is what I'm telling you. You should call me. So just call me that. That's all.
I do a whole class on that. If you want to show somebody respect, call them what they ask you to call them. Period.
Exactly. Is that so hard?
Look,
and I promise I won't.
She had a Steve Harvey moment. She had a Steve Harvey moment. Okay. I am not going to sit here and believe that she maliciously mispronounced.
No.
Right. Yeah, I don't think it was malicious.
That's what I meant when I said we just having a petty moment.
Yeah, we are having a petty moment.
I think you messed up. And then at that moment, when you realize you messed up, you can either make a big deal out of it, like, "Ooh, I'm so sorry, Kamala," and then now you've ruined the moment. Or you be like, "I'm gonna just roll with it." I feel like
Kamala took the microphone. That was her big defining moment.
But you know what? Just me personally, I would have stepped back real quickly in an instant and said, "I'm so sorry, Kamala." I had a moment like that, y'all, a few months ago when I had my first interview with Jim Clyburn this past August. I was blown away that I had a brain freeze, but this is a guy that I have admired for years. He physically, Tom can attest to this, something about him reminds me of my father in terms of the glasses, the coloring, the way he talks. It's like, I'm like, yes, sir. Like when we were in the chat before we went on. And when we went live, I completely nutted up and forgot what it was I wanted to say. Jesus. I was stuck. Yeah, I was like, wow. Like, you know, and so instead of like trying to push past it, I was like, sir, I am so sorry. I am so honored to have you here. I started over because I was like, hey, I'd rather do it that way. But it was such a big screw up where I completely forgot what it was that I was supposed to say right out the gate, that I was like, well, let me just go ahead and correct it because I'm humble like that. I'm like, hey, I screwed that up. I'm sorry, Representative Clyburn. And then we went on and had a wonderful 30-minute chat from there. But right out the gate, I was like a deer in the headlights. I screwed up. And I wonder if that's what happened to Justice Sotomayor, because again, we know she's a wise Latina jurist. You remember that from her confirmation. Yes, we know she's brilliant. We know she's progressive and ally. But think about it. Supreme Court justices don't always do a bunch of public speaking and getting
especially
on the microphone.
Clarence Thomas.
Right.
Thomas don't ever say anything.
Right. And so, you know, she's at a moment where how many millions of people around the world were watching that? I think she just might have had butterflies and completely, like Sharon said, it was complete. I just screwed that up.
I don't think it was malicious at all.
No, it's just as a person who was watching and wanting that moment to be excellent for her. Because, you know, Barack Obama's inaugural invocation had a little flub, too. He and Justice Roberts were kind of like, but to hear at that moment, and that has now been memorialized because she's the first woman and first Black woman and first South Asian woman. So that's going to be on YouTube forever. Yeah. That moment for her, I just felt bad for her because that's the moment that is enshrined. And every time it's played back from now, unless Sonia Sotomayor does an overdub, it's going to be Kamala. And that's what it's going to be throughout the ages. And so I just felt badly for her. That's all. It was definitely not malicious. But it's just one of those things. And we're moving on because they are definitely on that agenda and they are pushing things forward. One of the things that has surprised me is how Josh Hawley still has a job.
Why are you surprised?
Well, I'm not surprised. I guess disheartened that he and Ted Cruz, instead of like going into a corner somewhere, are going full bore. Ted Cruz trying to make headlines today. Bruh, you need to get off the news cycle for a second and just relax, because you're going to have your chance to be big and brash when the impeachment starts, but nobody really needs to hear from you at all up until that point. You can just keep it pushing and everybody would be completely fine with that. Marjorie Taylor Greene is sucking up all that oxygen right now.
How are we not only talking about her?
Well, so let's open it up.
Well, I want to say something quickly.
Sure.
Well, no, I'll say it at the end
of
this segment.
So Marjorie Taylor Greene, the Georgia Congress critter, who
I call her Congress Karen.
Oh,
I like that. I like that.
Congress
That
Karen
Marjorie.
That'll
You
do,
get the
Joe.
two snaps for
That'll
tonight.
do.
Yeah, Congress Karen Marjorie Taylor Greene. Once again, social media will catch you. And she was caught because she had liked a bunch of tweets and Facebook posts back in the, I mean, I say back in the day, 2 years ago. It's not like it's that far away. You know, co-signing on the fact that Democratic politicians needed to be assassinated. And she came back when those particular likes, because some stuff was getting scrubbed, but of course the internet does not have a memory hole. She said, well, I have people who manage my social media, and everything that they like is not what I liked. First of all, girl, you ain't had no people like that before you were a congressperson. I mean, I know that you're not a poor person, but Harry Brown says, Congress Karen QAnon heifer instead of Marjorie Taylor Greene. So Congress Karen.
We need to make that a hashtag, Congress Karen with the 2 Ks.
Congress Karen.
I like that, Sister Graves. I like that.
Yeah, 3 Ks.
Yeah.
You might as well just keep it all together, keep it rolling. But the thing that she can't get away from is that she was literally chasing down that student from the Florida high school shootings, following him in the street, telling him that she had a gun, asking him why he won't answer her questions. And meanwhile, he's like, because I don't talk to trash, so I'm just going to keep walking.
I love that kid.
I don't have to answer your questions. You're sitting here saying it was fake. You're saying that if the guy had done his job, then maybe some of your then you would have been safe, or at least some of you wouldn't have been shot. Saying that Sandy Hook is a false flag, saying that all of these things, and this is a sitting Congress Karen.
Yeah.
And one wonders, because all of the QAnon people were disappointed after the storm didn't happen. These people literally thought that there were going to be mass incarcerations and executions on Inauguration Day, because that was how Trump was going to take.
But we really need to look at this. This is, you know, David Hogg is one of the most intellectual young men you're ever going to meet.
Yeah.
He is absolutely brilliant. He's non-confrontational, and he suffers from PTSD. I mean, he only lived through, I mean, on top of it all, he does suffer from it. I don't even want to go to what's wrong with the people of Georgia, because she was elected by a great minority and was pushed to the top of the ticket. I can't wait for her to try to run without Trump on the ticket after what Georgia went through after the general election.
That's right.
I mean, Georgians got a new chip on their shoulder. They got a new attitude. And I just found out today that she actually was trying to run against Sister McBath. And she switched. Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm like obsessed with her crazy, right? And she switched to the congressional seat that she ended up winning in. But that's always because that's the new thing, that you can't get through a Republican primary unless you go cray-cray. That's how Ron DeSantis beat Adam Putnam. She did the same thing, touting Trump. And then if it's a strong Republican seat, it's kind of you win by default. What we need to be doing right now, which is what I was going to say before we started, there's a mass exodus, and I'm sure it's going on in Georgia. There's a mass exodus of people leaving the Republican Party. A mass exodus.
Yeah.
That's right.
And because we don't live in that world, we don't see it, but they're starting to report it. And there was one of their major donors from Texas went on TV tonight and laid Ted Cruz's ass out. And they not laying you out. They laying you out and taking the money. So those cats are only motivated by the money.
That's right.
And one thing we're not going to sleep is just like Stephen King, the Dems and the mouthpieces, minority mouthpieces, majority mouthpieces are not going to sleep till they sit Marjorie Greene down. She is a step over the line. She is a catapult over the line. And then to add insult to injury, to put her on the education committee of Congress.
That's the thing that kills it for me. You can't put this woman who is decrying dead children,
right,
telling their parents that they are liars, with the full Alex Jones, and you're going to be on the education committee? Like, what is Kevin McCarthy doing?
Right.
Well,
sipping cocktails at Mar-a-Lago, and you need to strip her of all her assignments. Sit her ass down.
Yeah, and Lincoln Project needs to put all their new energy behind her, because several people from Georgia posted how crazy her district is, and that's just so concerning because you don't get yourself elected,
right?
And from her district to January 6th. To these characters going after Dick Cheney. They need Dick Cheney about to take his ass up to Wyoming and go, like, what you doing with my daughter?
Right.
Let's be clear. The cray-cray, you talk about pearl clutching. Some of them people going a little crazy.
Oh, crazy.
Them non-melanin people is getting a little cray-cray. And to even think that this woman is just still out there talking trash is very concerning to the mental health of white people.
And just for the folks who are not familiar with her district, I've seen a few people ask, like, what is her area? She's District 14, but that is basically Dalton and Rome, Georgia. And so for those who are not familiar with Rome, Georgia, I don't know that much about it because I've never been there, mostly because when I went to school in college, there was a very broad understanding that you don't go there. It was a sundown town. It was even in rap songs, like, don't nobody care about Rome, Georgia. Like, yeah, stay out. And so it does not surprise me that her constituents would see her as their speaker, as their voice. Because that's what they're doing with them.
She's not the only one that's trash. Representative Lauren Boebert from Colorado.
Yes.
I love Colorado. I used to live in Colorado. She also lost her entire mind talking about David Hogg. And it's just they're kind of a matched pair. They're like identical cousins in every way. Because she's the brunette and Congress Karen, QAnon heifer, is the blonde. But they're both like the evil Betty and Victoria in the Archies. They're just like, you get off screaming at this boy who was traumatized in high school. That's your thing. You're chasing, what is he, 19 now, maybe? 19, maybe 20 years old. That's your thing? That's not even your state, girl. Why don't you go figure out what's going on in Colorado? And as beautiful as Colorado is, it definitely has its pockets and streaks. It's right up there next to Idaho and some of them other states. So, but I love the state. I lived there for many years. When my dad was at the doing pilot training at the Air Force Academy. So it's lovely country until it's not. That's where Black Klansman is set, just in case y'all have forgotten.
I have forgotten that. Yeah.
So that's the real deal. And both of these women, both of these heifers, I'll call them both heifers. Both of these heifers need to get primaried. And need to get defeated come 2022, because there's no space in our leadership of this nation for people like this. It's just ridiculous. You're picking on children who were shot at. Look at yourself. Just look at yourself.
Look at your life.
Look at your life. What are you doing? There are some other headlines that need to be held back because they happen to be gangstas. So we are going to leave those things out of headlines. Before we go into some other things, there's a lot of pop culture happening, and I don't know if everybody is fully up on it, but I watched this Denzel Washington movie. It came out on HBO Max today, The Little Things. So what I can say about this is, for the brothers in the audience who've been married for a while and have been used to their wives or their significant others always talk about how fine Denzel is, this is the movie to watch with your woman, because he has gone full dad bod. And yes, I know, Joy, I know it's freaking you out, but he is a sheriff in Kern County, California, and he has a gut. With the first shot
you leave Denzel alone.
I'm sorry to shatter your dreams. It's also a very dark movie. It's dark, as the kids say. Right. Capital dark, lowercase dark.
Body shaming aside, though, it's a good movie.
It's well acted, but the end is, I think it's not a Denzel movie where people are going to be like, oh, this is what I was expecting from a Denzel movie.
Okay.
It's dark, and the ending is dark. But the people who are acting in it, Rami Malek, he's very, very intense, as he almost always is. The dude could use a sandwich. He's really thin.
That's my little baby. I love him too.
And then Jared Leto, he is playing another super creepy dude. I mean, super creepy. Very, very. Now, this is the second movie that HBO Max has released that was supposed to be in theaters. So Wonder Woman 1984 is about to drop off of HBO Max, and so they dropped the Little Things. They're also going to be doing King Kong versus Godzilla, which, yes, that's coming in March. So if you are interested in HBO Max, if you haven't gotten it, they are releasing a whole lot of really good movies. The Little Things is definitely a creepy, intense, dark feature. It's worth the time, but I don't know if people are going to be like, ooh, this is something I want to watch again. I would not say that it is that. Okay. Moreover, Kern County is a dark place. You're right, Patrice, Marshall McKenzie. It's a lot of stuff going on in Kern County. But it takes place. Stacy says Denzel can get it anytime. Yes, I'm sure Denzel can. I'm just saying, brothers, you can suck in your gut and beat Denzel in this movie, because he is definitely not 80s Denzel in it. And Jason says it has a 7 feel, but not. It is 7 adjacent. It does feel like Jason, but there's no what's in the box. There's no what's in the box moment.
Okay. Okay,
it's pretty.
That's good.
Intense. That's it. So that's my little moment as far as pop culture. Watch WandaVision. Episode 4 was lit, and it's amazing. So if you like your Marvel stuff, definitely go into that. CJ says it's not 7, it's 8. I'd say maybe it's 6. It's not near as intense as 7, but maybe 5.5. But well worth watching. What else is on your radar this week, people, as just things that have popped up on your lives, on your feeds, things that are amusing that we're not holding back for y'alls and Gangstas?
I think you hit it on the head earlier about the Kevin McCarthy thing. Seeing him fly down to Palm Beach, going to Mar-a-Lago, to kiss the ring. It's what doesn't make sense to me is these people act as if we don't live in a time within which what you say today will not be right there to be turned back against you tomorrow. And just 2 weeks ago, he found his gonads and had the ability to express his anger with the insurrection and point the finger at who the blame belonged with. And within 2 weeks now, he's walked all of that back, and the fault belongs to all of us. It doesn't belong to the former person whose name we will not call. And so with that in my mind, I just don't understand people like that. I've said men like that, but I don't understand women like that either. I mean, if you feel one way, feel that way. And if the person that, is you are directing your ire towards doesn't like it, tough. I mean, it's It's not as if he was being petty. It's the truth. We all heard and saw what happened on January 6th. And so I just don't understand these types who can be bold one day and then, walk back their boldness and turn into sniveling cowards the next. I just don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we had somebody, McCarthy, I remember when we had John Kerry running for president, and he was accused of being a flip-flopper. And McCarthy has flipped all the way from, oh, it's really bad that these people have done these things to insurrection to it's all y'all's fault. And like to your point, Chuck, Trump doesn't have the platform. He has the reach. He still has loyalty from some people who have not abandoned him, because the QAnon people are kind of stripping off. There's, the core is going to stay there. But since he doesn't have that platform, we have yet to see what he's going to be able to do to mobilize these people going forward. Mm-hmm. But the fact that McCarthy is going there against his better instincts, trying to chop at Liz Cheney, who at least had the stones to do the right thing, because he did need to be impeached and he does need to be convicted. It's not particularly likely. But to see that Kevin gets away with a flip-flop of that magnitude is stunning to me.
Yeah.
And at least Ted Cruz, because he's so concerned about keeping himself in the media, has walked into a couple of bear traps, because every time he goes on TV, people are giving him the entire business on how he could be supporting Trump and how he could have said these things. And I'm going to get into it a little bit later, because Ted Cruz is a part of my gangster comments, and I can't wait. But it's amazing how craven that these GOP critters have become in the aftermath of this catastrophic loss.
Yeah.
Joy, you're nodding your head. I know you want to jump in and say something.
No, I was just reading the comments and I had to clutch my pearls when Harry Tamara Brown said, Lindsay, clutch my pearls and panties. Graham. So I shouldn't have been reading the comments like that, but it caught me off guard. So that's why my mouth was open, because I was like, oh, that's funny.
Somebody said, and this is more on a positive note, in case you don't want to continue talking about people who are trash, they said that you all need to be watching the Netflix original series Lupin.
Yes.
Now, I have binged it. Omar Sy is the star. He is a French actor. You may have seen him in Days of Future Past as the X-Man Bishop, but in this French language piece, he is channeling a famous figure in French literature, and it's a caper show, basically. So his father was accused of stealing something that he didn't steal, and so now he's a grown man, and he's setting himself up to get some revenge. And I think the biggest leap you have to take is that this 6'4" black man could be a master of disguise. He always looks like a 6'4" black man.
You know what, Bob? That's what's so beautiful about it, is because racism is everywhere, but racism has a little bit different flavor in different places. And in France, you can be a 6'4" black man and be invisible.
That's true.
Because you are just a 6'4" black man. They don't know what your features are. They just know skin and height. And so he could throw on a mustache or a beard or whatever, and they're like, I don't know who this is. And for my anime, old school anime fans, if you are familiar with the old series Lupin III, that's the same famous person, the famous gentleman thief. Yeah. Yes, that was in that was supposed to be from that series. That's who he also is channeling in this series, and it's great. It very much has a Thomas Crown Affair feel to it, where you're like, oh, I didn't know this was going to happen. Oh, this is so cute. And the boy, I mean, he's charming, he's cool, he's suave, he's all those things, and it's gorgeous. You have to take a second to get past the fact that the lips don't match the words because it's dubbed, unless you watch it in French and read. You can see it either way. That's
what I did.
He definitely sounds better in French than he does with that English voice. So get into the reading, because it will make it a whole lot better for you. And it's translated better in there than it is with them talking over. Yeah, it
is. And I tried because I was doing something else, and I said, I don't know if I'm going to like this show, so let me just put it on in English. But as like 10 minutes in, I was like, oh, I'm digging this. And so I started it over. turned on the French, and left with the English subtitles, and it was a much more enjoyable experience because everybody sounds better. If you are a native French speaker, French is a much more beautiful language than English, and so if you hear it in French and take the time to invest watching the screen and reading, I think you'll really enjoy it. Cliffhanger for days. I mean,
Hey, bro.
cliffhanger. And I'm not that's not a spoiler. It's a cliffhanger. Watch the show. It's 25 episodes. It's an easy watch.
Come on.
It's already been greenlit, so you're going to get a season 2. But definitely watch Lupin.
You're also going to get a season 2 of Bridgerton for all of my Bridgerton fans out there. We're not going to talk about it. It's not here yet. I'm just saying season 2 is coming. I will be there to watch it and let you know how it is.
They said they ready to green light through season 8. That's the article I read. Shonda is not fooling with you people. She said, "Look,
it's the number 1 miniseries they've ever had on Netflix."
They said it's the most streamed series in history.
She about to be paid.
She already paid. She got her deal is a 9-figure deal, people.
She has panned out to be the winner with Netflix.
Oh yeah, no, she's winning. The Obamas ain't even splashed on Netflix yet. Like Shonda. Shonda's in charge. She is handling all of the things. So, are we ready to get into gangsterliciousness? Are we? Because I do have the graphic.
Right at
There it is.
Wait. Don't we have something?
We don't have to do it. I know. That's why.
Go ahead with your gangster since you're ready to put up the preview.
No, we are doing a tribute to Cicely Tyson. How about that?
Boy, I swear between the two of you.
That was she didn't want you to say that, Joy.
I don't care.
It's okay.
I wasn't gonna let you go past it.
I wasn't going to. I was trying to see if you were ready so I could do it. Go ahead, Sharon. Take the stage. Bless us, please. And see, I didn't even say her name, so you going to
bless the children.
Bless them.
Well, I would like to start off our tribute to the beautiful, magnificent, irreplaceable sister Sarah Cicely Tyson. I am going to make this really personal because I know my colleagues should also have some things that they would like to share about her. But when you think about a life well lived, when you think about Black excellence from start to finish, I actually wore my charm. Some of you can or cannot see it, but it actually says Black excellence. And I put this on as the first time I've ever worn it. And I wore it tonight to celebrate the life of Ms. Cicely Tyson. 96, y'all. 96. And less than 2 days, the day before she passed, she was still tweeting, lifting up the next generation. She tweeted a message about Amanda Gorman the day before she died. I mean, it just gives me chills to see, especially the 2 generations after her, how they held her up, still on the stage, still front and center. Viola Davis got the mama of her dreams. Tyler Perry was making sure he could insert her every place he could. We will never forget the autobiography of Miss Jane Pittman. We will never forget the role in Roots. We will never forget the Marva Collins story, the women of Brewster Place, and the endlessness of this beautiful chocolate, dark mocha chocolate sister who was also a fashion model and graced us with her poise. She always had those appropriate roles to lift us up, and even in the most historical stories, she was just the no drama queen that always brought this elegance, this sophistication, this mystery about her. But her mere presence was a teachable moment. And that day that President Barack Hussein Obama put the Medal of Freedom around her neck in 2016, 5 whole years ago. And to think about all the stuff she's just done in the past 5 years, we were allowed many generations of beautiful Black children who were raised like us, watching her on the screen in episodic roles. But it's just amazing to see a woman in her late 80s and 90s be so central in main stage of greater Blackness, celebrating, knowing that she has been around and main stage for over 60 years. I had a moment when she passed. It was a calming, there was no room for tears. It was just room to celebrate someone who lived such a full life. And to see that screen say 96 years old, you just kind of had to say, wow, I only hope I can be around that long. I mean, her iconic roles in Harriet Tubman. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. But I just want to sit in silence, have a moment to just breathe her air, breathe her existence, breathe the contributions that she just delivered to our world, to our oxygen, her activism. I mean, look at that. Look at the purity of her youth. And it's not far from where she ended her career on her deathbed. I mean, her career was still jumping. So it's just a moment. And we were all blessed to have grown up watching her come back, shine each time, and grace this earth, us mere mortals, with her presence. Sister Cicely Tyson. Joy?
You know, there's really not a lot that I could add to that. And thank you so much for speaking on our behalf to honor Sora Cicely Tyson. I'll just say that my first memory of seeing her was in Sounder. And I remember watching that movie and thinking that's what strength looks like. You know, I remember her being indefeatable, you know, unbeatable. And it stuck with me. So whenever I see her, I always go back to that in my mind. And she will be sorely missed. I like what you said about the roles that she took. She was very intentional about that. Like you ain't about to catch her playing nothing that doesn't lift Black women up and lift the race up as a whole. And I hope that someone can pick up the mantle. I really do. But she will be missed forever.
You know, when you're growing up and there aren't very many images of Black people, period, but certainly not many images of Black women who embody the essence of grace and fortitude and wisdom, and to be a person, you know, there's Diane Carroll was a woman like that. But Cicely Tyson was different because, like you said, Joy, Cicely Tyson was you didn't really see Diane Carroll looking anything other than like amazing and beautiful. That was just, you know, her thing. But Cicely Tyson would give you Sounder one day, and then she'd give you this the next day.
Mm-hmm.
And Jennifer Lewis has made a lot of saying, you know, I played Tupac's mama, I played this one's mama. Mm-hmm. Cicely Tyson was every Black woman, from like you said, Sharon, from Harriet Tubman to playing this phenomenally aged Jane Pittman, to being on Roots, to being a sharecropper's wife on Sounder, and then sliding into the elegance and beautiful regent queen phase where everybody's just like, give her things. She deserves all of her things because she's 96 and is killing people who are 30 years younger, because she just epitomized the height, the stature, the bearing. Everything about her was so regal, and that's inspirational when you see someone like that on screen, because you know she is carrying the character in her soul and taking it to screen and making you believe it.
Mm-hmm.
That's a treasure. That's a cultural treasure right there. And this isn't to be disdainful, but it's hard to imagine, having lost her, who is like filling that slot, like who is, you know, the new Black Meryl Streep, or the new who's going to be the new white Cicely Tyson in terms of just
some people are not meant to be replaced,
and they aren't meant. You are right about that, because there is no one. Regina King maybe is pushing to try to fill the void of being a talented woman who is pushing the envelope in a bunch of different genres. But even she, Cicely Tyson, had a 70-year career. 70 years. That's not something that even happens anymore. You ain't gonna be anybody starting off today who's gonna have a career 70 years from now. It's just not gonna happen.
Yeah.
And so to be that person, I know my cousin who is in the arts, Hannah Sharif, she was mourning her passing just because of everything that she has been throughout the world of theater and drama. And we went through 2020, and 2020 had a lot of bad times. And to see that 2021 has taken this beautiful angel from us is it's devastating. Mm-hmm. It's really, really tough.
Chuck?
You know, as I was looking at the pictures, as Sharon was talking and Joy earlier, before you had your piece, you know, the thing that sticks out to me is the picture of Barack Obama, President Obama, placing that Medal of Freedom around her neck. And I would just say this, you know, when you look at this picture and you remember her and all that she did over 96 years on Earth, and you think about the fact that President Obama similarly lauded people like C.T. Vivian, John Lewis, just Elijah Cummings, up on and on and on. You think about our icons who have left this earth in the last year and a half, the Joe Lowrys of the world, the Hank Aaron's. And then you think about the fact that the president that just left the White House was lauding Rush Limbaugh with the same type of award. It really makes you recognize that, again, as a people, those of us who are out here doing, those of us who are in the political arena, who are capable of being able to recognize and honor talent and achievement, we bring far more to the table than what just left the White House. And I know that's easy to say. Some people be like, duh, but it's not really a duh. It's something that needs to be noted, that the same laurels that were around Queen Cicely Tyson's neck were around Rush Limbaugh's last year. And it makes you realize just how far as a country we have fallen and how difficult the task will be to build back better.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to mention something, because when Sharon said that we were going to do this tribute, she tasked me with finding photos. And I'm just realizing now, she was already 40 when I was a kid. I'm just like getting that in my head. And I had never seen young, fine Cicely Tyson like this before. Like, I mean, she was banging. She was everything. This is like Grace Jones. I mean, just amazingness, stunning, a gorgeous woman. That natural is popping. I mean, it is incomparable. I found this other young picture of her giving me Nina Simone, just amazingness. I am stunned. It is incredible to see a woman who has had a career. You can't even Google and figure out which picture you're going to pull, because she's just done so many amazing things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm struggling. I got 9 pictures already, but she was
done good.
She's a legend. Thank you. I didn't want to disappoint you, because she was, y'all, Sharon was hazing me. You can't just have one picture. So that is our tribute to the Queen Cicely Tyson, we love you. We honor you. We want to have your memory shine throughout the ages. And we are definitely going to make sure that that is true. So Jason says her career started in 1951. My mother wasn't born yet.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't even. She had a 70-year career. I think Betty White is probably the only other person who could say that they've had a 70-year career.
You might be right about that. Yeah.
Who's still
also a national treasure. Yeah.
Yeah, also a national treasure. And wasn't playing games with you people even back in the day. She made some very critical choices that impacted her career for the sake of decency, being a decent person. That said, okay. Now I'm seeing your private chat, Sharon, from 20 minutes ago. We are now ready, I think, for the Gangstas. One time, if you guys appreciate our little graphics now, I've added these little graphic things to separate our segments so it's easier to follow along. So we are going to start this week. Who wants to lead off with the Gangstas? Because I'm not saying anybody's gangster. So who wants to lead off with theirs? And I will just be ready, and you can say, drop the photo. You can do that. So who's going first?
I'm not going first. I'm still in the corner from yelling out Cicely Tyson. I know I put myself in the corner. I was being a belligerent child, and I was like,
I appreciate you advocating, though. I forgive that one.
Thank you. But I yield the floor. Somebody else can go first.
I'll jump in.
Okay, Jeff.
All right, let's go with Representative Cori Bush.
Blam.
Yeah, she's my gangster. She's a fellow HBCU alum, graduate of Harris Stowe State, a freshman congresswoman out of the state of Missouri. And it took, I believe, all of her gangster to keep from dragging, literally, Congress Karen Marjorie Taylor Greene today, apparently, or this week. Apparently, Marjorie Taylor Greene was on full Karen, yelling without a mask, screaming at Representative Cori Bush in the corridors of the Capitol complex this week. And again, I can't imagine what type of discipline she had to have to, again, withhold her gangster, because, again, it couldn't have been me. And so with that, she gets Gangster of the Week for that story ending without what could have happened, based upon the fact that when you take your mask off during this COVID reality and you start yelling and spitting and screaming at somebody, that could be an assault, and you potentially could stand your ground. That's all I'm going to say.
Now, didn't Cori request for her office to be moved?
She did. And I believe that Speaker Pelosi did move her today. But again, it bears watching in the days ahead, because apparently all of Congress Karen's supporters are talking trash, about what they're going to do. And here's hoping that all of Cori Bush's supporters will also support her in the days ahead and let folks know what they're not going to do to our sister. Right.
Once again, what you ain't gonna damn do. Brought to you by Dark Liquor.
Dark Liquor.
Right.
Since we're already in the halls of Congress, I guess I will go next. There is a congressperson whose social media Twitter fingers game is unparalleled. And this week she unleashed the hurricane against one Eduardo Cruz of Texas. There was some conversation about a controversy with a particular app. And she said that there needed to be some discussions about this app, and Ted Cruz co-signed. And she was like, stop clout chasing. I'm going to read one of these reads, actually two of these reads, because the back-to-back reads are everything. So she slapped him down, and he said, there's a lot of partisan anger and rage on the Democratic side. To which she replied, oh, there's anger? Now, why would there be anger that Cruz amplified known lies about our election that fueled an insurrection that cost people's lives. What does he think the logical response to his lies should be? A hug? Maybe there's anger because his actions deserve accountability. And after another couple of folks decided they were going to be on Team Cruz, she said, this is the GOP. We need healing and unity, but I will not take any responsibility for my actions, nor will I acknowledge the contributions my lies made to the violence or the harm that it caused, nor do I believe anyone should be held accountable. But if you're mad at that, you're divisive. That's the GOP. And that is why my gangster, once again, Miss Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, AOC, leader of the squad and indefatigable champion of all that is great in Congress in a year when there has not been a lot to be great about. Cheers to you, AOC, for doing the doggone thing.
Mm-hmm.
Who is going to go next? We've got the two ladies.
Okay. Sharon,
sure, I'll let you close out. I chose someone that doesn't get talked about enough in Black space, and he's kind of stepped out there. I've been a big fan for a long time, but he stepped out there in a controversial topic that he is on the tour right now, talking real truth to power about something I want to provoke our audience to think about. I chose Charles Blow as my Gangsta of the Week for his new book, The Devil You Know, a Black Power Manifesto. Now, I saw Charles transitioning. I thought he was going through some mental health issues. I thought he was depressed. He was always on CNN. He started becoming very agitated and frustrated, and you could see it on his face, and I'm a huge fan. But in the process, he moved from New York to Atlanta. So he was in Georgia probably the last 2 or 3 years. So during the height of the 2018 Stacey Abrams run, definitely everything that has gone on in 2000 and kicked off the beginning of this year, come to find out he was working on his book, The Devil You Know, a Black Power Manifesto. Now, what's central to his story is that it's a call for the reversal of the Great Migration. And he really goes in depth about how our Great Migration to the North and the West was a mistake for Black folks. And he's calling us to move back to the South and to amass our power build similar to what we experienced most recently with the Georgia power grab. Now, even after Stacey won, but even pre 2018, or won the push, Georgia was written off. I mean, let's be clear. I don't believe in rewriting history. We used to wonder what was wrong with people in Georgia, especially in Atlanta, and why y'all didn't turn out to vote, especially when Mayor Keisha Lance Bottom thinly won and almost had a white woman on her coattails to take over the city of Atlanta, very much like a white man took over the city of Detroit. And us losing our staple cities is hugely problematic. Now, fast forward with the underground efforts and having a psychotic person in the White House, for the only people I feel like has woken up right now are Black folks. So I'm not just saying that to just make us feel good. I mean that. Okay. So when I sat down thoughtfully, Chuck, and started thinking about the reversal of the Great Migration, I just think it's something we all need to start building on and thinking about what would that look like? Mm-hmm. What would our power build, very much like the sleeping now woke citizens of Georgia, who a lot of people have migrated to Atlanta in particular, but are definitely the surrounding areas to Georgia. And there are pockets. There's literally like 1,200 majority Black cities or major city epicenters. And he's now saying we need some state epicenters, where if we can build our electoral colleges by state. You have much more power than your city by shaping a state around policies and around responsible government, almost, territorial in a way that if we chose select states and we did the reversal of the Great Migration, which I want y'all to know I'm completely in support of, because I understand the depth, and because the main people tearing up his book are white people. And he literally said, white people, this book ain't for you, and your critique is welcomed. I was like, okay, Charles, you have snapped. And he basically said, I don't need you just coming out to BLM to make yourself feel good. If you're not going to be a part of the solution, I'm not leaving up to you to solve white supremacy. I was like, because everybody else like, y'all need to fix y'all. And he was like, look, people. And not just the courage, but the psychological depth of what he's actually calling for. I challenge especially our crew to really dissect it. He's not the be all end all, but it's definitely a call to action of consciousness to say, do we really understand what power looks like? That's the message to me. It's not about episodic. It's how, we were supposed to do this integration stuff, and we're supposed to go to the white schools, and white people are supposed to make us better because we gonna access their resources. That's what they were telling us. That's what we were telling ourselves, and that we got enough. And he tore the Black intellectuals up in his book, bless his heart, because he's like, I'm not interested in you giving glorious speeches to make them feel good and think that there's a couple of educated us. He's asking us to come in and do the work. Do the work to build Black epicenters. And the devil is because we fled to the north for the devil we didn't know, expecting liberation and freedom. And all they did was co-opt the South and make the language prettier.
Right.
Because they still stepping on our necks up there.
I'll make sure I get that.
So that's my read for my kick off my Black History Month.
Yeah.
On Monday, I'm going to read that book and ask my colleagues and our viewers to, look in there. Let's start having a real conversation on what it would look like. My segment for the next couple of weeks is going to be called The Reversal of the Great Migration.
All right.
Okay.
And we're going to get a little deep in what our liberation need to look like.
Well, I am very pleased to support my fraternity brother, Charles M. Blow, in this second book. I got his first book. I'm going to be getting this second book as well. And it's
bring him on the show. Hey, talk about the reversal of the Great Migration.
Brother Blow, just letting you know, we here. And we got another space for you. If you want to come on the show, we definitely got space. We can add a fifth person up in here. No problem. And you bring up a good point, Sharon, about the conversations we're not having. We're talking a lot about current events. That's kind of our mainstay and our bread and butter. But I think there's space on our show to dedicate a segment to broader, longer term conversations about Black liberation and uplift outside of just the context of dealing with stuff that is happening to us on the day. So that's something for us to talk about. KJ says she has a crush on Brother Blow anyway. Bring it. Okay. Well, we'll try to make that happen for you. And you were representing Sister Cicely with your profile pic. So thank you for that. That means, Joy, we are looking at you for the last gangster. And I've been waiting for this. I want to see your take on this one. Going ahead.
My gangster of the week is not a particular person. It's the little people.
That's
the
right.
Little people who decided to band together and take down a behemoth of greed, gluttony, backdoor deals, and shenanigans. I'm talking about the group of people on Reddit who decided they were going to fix the short selling of GameStop stock and pulled billions with a B, billions out of all of these hedge funds who played this other side of the stock market. And I sat here in my privilege of having a regular, everyday, every man's portfolio, which didn't get bothered at all. So, you billionaires who have been playing this little short game for years, y'all broke. Oh, that's so terrible. I feel so bad for you. right now. And I love that they were like, you know what? We're going to get on Reddit. Everybody buy this stock. Somebody figured out how the shorts work. It was like, you know what? If we all do this, we can make some money. And they did. And it gave exposure to the hypocrisy of all these little apps, like Acorn and Robinhood and all these other apps where they say, we're trying to help the little man get into the stock market and blah, blah, blah. And it's really just a way to charge you extra money for buying and trading stocks and try to push you to doing it with the banks for better bulk rates, etc. But Robinhood, the CEO, put a kibosh on all the little people buying stocks. So now, I thought you said this was supposed to be for everybody, for a level playing field. So why I can't trade the stock no more, but the people on Wall Street, you're trying to save them some money. And so now there's investigations being done. But here's the thing, because this has been exposed in this way, and because it became something anybody and everybody can do, if you regulate it, you got to regulate it for everybody, which takes the candy away from this fat, greedy baby on Wall Street. They will hopefully, because it could go another way, but they will hopefully not be able to be doing this short shit no more. And I love it. I'm here for it all day. I bask in the white tears of the people that lost billions because they've been bilking people out of money forever. I give 0 coital episodes about them at all. And I'm so excited. So my hat is off to everyone who got in on it. All the little 25-year-olds who put in $200 and got $18,000 back out. Good for you, boo. You know what? Maybe if they hadn't resisted paying off all these student loans for so long, they wouldn't have been sitting around trying to figure out how to make some money. And you could have kept your little system in check. The thing that rich people don't seem to understand is how to keep the masses really happy. And they failed at it. They got. That's what you get. Ha, ha, ha to you and you and you and all of you in the back and in the middle and the front. Yo, that's my gangster of the week. GameStop stock.
Well, maybe if those hedge fund billionaires stopped eating avocado toast in Starbucks, they could earn that $3 billion back.
Don't miss me with the avocado toast bullshit. That's not even real.
That's what they were saying. That's what they were saying about millennials. Millennials couldn't raise any money because they were eating avocado toast.
First of all, millennials are 40 right now. So all the old people who need to catch up with the fact that it was the Gen Zs that were doing it. Millennials already an outdated term. So again, hats off to the 25 and 30-year-olds.
Yeah, these Gen Zs are no joke. But let me be very clear about this shorts that's going on. When they froze that market to short the market. That's why it fell. And they collected their money, and them sons of bitches came back in and bought it to shoot it back up. So Wall Street wasn't born yesterday. They didn't expect that tornado, just like they didn't expect 2008. And them sons of bitches did something very, very illegal. And they stranglehold the market. Those kids and Sharon couldn't buy but one share of stock to 5 share of stock through these trading outlets. I got to find me a Gen Zer to call me at the right moment so I can spot them. And them cats froze the market while they bought it at 193 until it shot back up at 3 something. So all them kids, I went out there, I just signed up today on that little Reddit site, all them cheering out there talking about, I'm a hold with you, I'm a hold. Sell your shit and get your money.
Right.
Because they have already screwed y'all when they stopped that market.
Right. And
the only reason it went back up is for them. Didn't go back up for y'all. Okay. So don't get squeezed. Get your coins and run. Any of your children, get your coins. That whole thing is about to collapse.
It sure is.
And wait till the next one that they do and then go for it. But they done figured it out. That was the most illegal shit ever, to freeze the ability to buy, and all you could do is sell.
Right.
And it went up 77% today for the billionaires.
Right. To buy.
To grab some of those coins.
So if you are unfamiliar with what this whole short thing is, Google Margot Robbie, The Big Short.
Yes.
Margot Robbie is sitting in a bathtub, so there's something for you to watch. She is explaining the whole short. Now, this short is about the housing market in 2000, the huge devastation that caused.
2008, yes.
But she really walks you through it, what the shorting is. There are a couple of really good articles on the internet as well about this particular thing that happened with GameStop. I got a download, an app download request from my son about stock trading for the first time ever in life because of this GameStop, not because I knew it was not possible for him to get in and make money right now because it was already passed. I did not approve that request because he ain't got no coins to lose. But if Google Margot Robbie, comma, The Big Short, and she lays it out very clearly.
Put it in the comments, Tom.
Oh, sorry about that.
In their comments.
Put it in the comments. She said type it in there.
Oh, okay.
Another good reference, this is around the housing crisis too, but it's the same. There's a lot of commonality between casinos and how they're run and the stock market and real estate markets and how they're run. And what's my boy's name? The Daily Show. Jon Stewart did a bit about the housing crisis. And he basically, I think if you probably Google like Jon Stewart, he's talking about how the housing, the realtors and everything, the loan people, they bought the VIG out from under themselves. They started basically believing their own hype, and the bubble burst. And so the same thing happens when you make all these trades and do all these deals based on something that you think is going to happen. And then when it doesn't happen, the house of cards comes tumbling down. That's what is going on here. And they never expected it. But yeah, The Big Short with Margot Robbie, it's a very entertaining way to learn that. And I'm here for it. I'm here for it all day.
All the new little millionaires and 100,000aires, get your money out, pay off your student loans, and then go back in and gamble with what's left.
Mm-hmm.
Don't sit there waiting on, don't wait for the big payday. The payday has happened. Get your money.
Understand that the casino has spotted you counting cards at the blackjack table. It's time to go.
Because the whole system is rigged.
Mm-hmm.
So their short is their new game, and they're doing it on tons of stock. I mean, they're kicking my behind on some shorts right now. I just can Reddit come on over here, inbox me Reddit. And I'll tell you what you need to point them to next, because mama's ready. I'll pay off several student loans if they trip on over here.
That's Serena Williams' husband, y'all, that started Reddit.
Yes, so he is.
I need you to get on the ticket, whatever his name is, Olympia. That's the daughter's name. Alexis, whatever your name is, bruh. Get that Black Reddit.
Serena's husband.
Black it.
Right. Mr. Serena? Yeah, him.
Yeah. Mr. Serena.
Mm-hmm.
Go on ahead, set that up for us, bruh. Now that we have gotten through all of our gangsters, Alexis Ohanian, thank you, CJ. We are going to move into our newest segment, and it is called Y'all. And it's not just y'all. It's not just Y''AL. It's y'all. Because this is our segment where we get to talk about the things that have tickled us. Now, Joy sent something which is absolutely hilarious. And since it ties into this whole thing with what we were talking about with Kevin McCarthy, I am all too happy to show it, making sure audio is shared. So let's take a look. Brian Williams is on MSNBC.
Oh my God.
So let's just roll that beautiful beam footage.
This meeting today between McCarthy and Trump, we'll watch it and react on the other side. I love you. You complete me. And just has.
You had me at hello. You had me at hello.
Obviously, we have rolled the wrong clip, and we were sold a bill of goods here. I thought this was going to be of the McCarthy and Trump meeting, and someone's going to be, of course, in big trouble. So, Baratun.
Hats off to the interns and whoever pulled that off. I mean, I feel like he was in on it, but it was still hilarious to me.
Mm-hmm. the brother in the middle is just like
his laughter got me. When I was like, damn, that's a y'all.
I mean, and first of all, it reminded me how much Jerry Maguire was a movie that tugs at the heartstrings. There was a lot to like in Jerry Maguire, and that scene in particular. But oh my gosh, that was one of the ultimate in terms of things that just should not happen on television that end up happening on television, and I am here for it.
All I could say is we can't make this shit up.
No.
That's one of those moments when I was like, is that superimposed? And then when I heard Brian Williams come back so embarrassed, I was like, damn, we have just lost all protocol. I was like,
Yeah, Brian Williams is from, he ain't embarrassed at all. He was probably sitting there like, watch, this is going to be good. Like he had to know what's happening. Because they let the whole thing play.
Right. No,
that's what I didn't understand. I was like, why is the whole thing playing? But you know, they might be getting him because he makes up his own journalism too.
Well, exactly. That's Brian Williams who was caught under fire, and there's a whole bunch of memes talking about when he was a freshman at Howard University pledging Kappa. Brian is getting roasted in these internet streets. So one of the things that I wanted to bring about in my y'all, and this kind of dovetails off of something that Sharon shared last week, because it was her Gangster of the Week. But I just have to say that Amanda Gorman, in addition to being a Super Bowl presentee, she is going to recite at the Super Bowl, a poetess reciting at the Super Bowl. Sister was also signed by IMG Modeling, y'all. She is doing all of the things. They saw her in that coat with that headband delivering them words, and IMG Model said, yup. And now she is doing the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl. That is incredible. Maya Angelou didn't do the Super Bowl. And don't nobody get to the Super Bowl as a poet. A poet.
Yeah.
She's killing the game. I'm sorry. That's a y'all for me. Go on, Amanda Gorman.
I'm real interested to see what poem she is going to recite at the Super Bowl, given the tumultuous relationship that woke Black people have had with the NFL over the past 5-6 years. I want to see what she says. That's going to be cool.
I just want that poem to be called Colin K. Tear it up, man. That's from me to you, my darling. Take it. Take it. You talk about on bended knee. Go on. Do it. I'm going to be here for it all because they can't cut you off. You go on ahead and do that thing, my dear, because you are everything. You are everything.
I can hear it now. Are you a Colin Kaepernick or a colonizer? Like, I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting. I want to see. I will actually watch that.
Colin Kaepernick. Woo! All right, Sharon. I am. Hold on. I'm setting you up, and I am ready, Sharon, for you whenever you are.
So put up the announcement.
Oh, it's either the assurance 165-point certification process, or it isn't.
So y'all, I'm just waiting on the shoe to drop. What are you doing? Just put the headline up. Because I can't hear you.
It's the commercial pre-roll. It's forcing the commercial pre-roll before it will show the headline. So it's almost done. Take a look at this Mercedes that we don't need to be buying because they were Nazis. So let's just.
That's why you need YouTube Premium, sweetheart.
It isn't YouTube. It's a web page.
Is follow the process that the Constitution.
Okay, we're not doing this right now. Go on ahead.
It wasn't me.
I didn't want all I wanted you to put up was the headline. I didn't need a clip. Can you give my people back my headline? So everyone, Do you know the asshole from Ohio, Jim Jordan, who has been getting on everyone's last nerve? All of a sudden, he has decided that he is not going to run for the United States Senate to fill Portman's seat. So this authentic asshole clearly has some skeletons in his closet. And while God don't like ugly, I guarantee you a whole lot of ugly about to come out on a whole lot of these rabbit crazies, including him, for him to back off from the position of a lifetime to take his congressional crazy over to the U.S. Senate. So I call this the start of the dismantling of the thrones, because where there is evil, there is the evil undoers, who usually are more evil and gonna set your shit out. And we already know he hid a whole lot of molestation cases in his college town from his wrestling days. So I am so certain that the only way that he was forced to announce he won't be running, because ain't nobody asked him if he was running. So the fact that he chose to announce it means he's trying to put all his marbles back in the bag. And I'm just hoping somebody dropped that bag and it just goes scattering everywhere and a whole bunch of little thrones get toppled. Because I promise you, this man got a whole lot of garbage that we have not, that has yet to be seen, but has been authenticated.
Oh yeah. No,
y'all.
You do not give up on a Senate seat that you are almost assured to win. Now, I've been hearing some things where some people say that actually Jordan, because of all the baggage that he has, might actually make the seat more competitive for a Democratic challenger, because even though he is Trump-tastic, Ohio isn't necessarily quite as Trump-tastic. And without Trump on the ticket...
Well, it went to Trump.
It did, but Trump was on the ticket. Trump isn't
going to
be on
that.
The ticket. And
trust me, there's baggage. They're too arrogant to not try.
Oh, no, absolutely. I know. And for him to be QAnon adjacent.
I know, Jason.
Yeah, he did say that. Ooh, but you know what? I didn't put that up. I don't know who did that. For him to be QAnon adjacent and then to be sitting here talking about pedophiles and drinking blood and all this stuff, and meanwhile your boss was molesting the wrestlers under your charge. You got some things to answer for, son.
Well, and mainly, he's just a disgusting human being. He is filth, filth. He is a disgusting human being.
Why did my mother say too much Matt?
I saw it. I was like, gotta get Dana. You gotta get Dana. You gotta sit Dana down. Dana over there sipping on some wine or something.
No, she did not. So that is, I think that's, I don't know that we could end it on anything other than that. That being said, we thank you for joining us. Each and every week we are going to be here. I'm Tom Cunningham.
I'm Chuck Hobbs.
I'm Joy Stevens.
And we are Steel Sharpens Steel. Come on back now. You hear? Wait, hold on. I'm going to throw Queen Cicely up. That should be our outro. We're going to go with the Queen. We're not even going to do the music. We're just going to let Cicely Tyson sit here and be the amazing woman that she is. And you all can just be quiet and just marvel in her, that 5-carat baguette that she is draped on her finger while she sits there in that stunning outfit. Miss Cicely Tyson, we love you.
Rest in peace.